Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha and I'm a homeschool mom of 3. Today I am doing an updated video about All About Reading. And today I am going to tell you some updated information and some just things that I didn't share in my previous video. But I will link my first video in the comments below if you are curious about the program, what is included. There are 5 levels from pre-reading all the way up to level 4. And I explain all of them and what comes in those programs. But today I'm going to tell you an updated version of my opinions and how things are going. So without further ado, here we go. All right, so I am about halfway through All About Reading level 4 with my oldest, who is 7. But like I said, I've said before, like every child moves at their different rates of speed. I love this program. I think it's been a great program. At sometimes I have felt like it's too slow and I am frustrated and just wish that I could move them faster ahead. But when I've tried, my children have suffered. So my first thing is just go with the program. It's very highly rated. People who have homeschooled for a very long time recommend this curriculum, and it's just one of those things that we have to go through the process. And some of our kids will pick up reading really fast and won't need something as intensive as this, but some kids need the whole process of working through and practicing through all of the things. So that's something that I have learned the hard way, is that I've tried to push my kids a little bit faster when they needed to just soak in what they've been learning and just go with the program and stick it out. So I know a lot of people kind of finish with level 3 and they wonder, should I do level 4? Is it worth it? Is it something that really we should do? And all of that. And my answer is yes, absolutely go with level 4. Now, I have a caveat to that. My son, reading clicked right at the end of level 3 to the point where like he is now reading everything that he can get his hands on. However, we found things that he really enjoyed reading, and that was the most important part. So towards the end of All About Reading level 3, I didn't care what he read, meaning I didn't make him read the stories that go along with the lesson before. If he was reading something that was at or above his reading level, to challenge him. And we would read it aloud and I would read it with him, and it worked because he needed to find something that made reading engaging and fun. And I think that's something that's really important when you're trying to teach kids to read. They need to find something to connect to. And so I allowed him to skip the readers as long as he was reading, and I was seeing him progress with his reading and all of that. So towards the end of level 3, we made that decision as a family, and we just did the lessons. And so he was doing every other lesson, and then so how it would work is like lesson 21 would be the lesson that would teach the new skill, and lesson 22 is usually the story. And so if he chose not to read that story, as long as he was reading something that was at that same level, then I allowed him to read whatever he would like. So that's something that I did change. Some people will say, well, they didn't get to practice the skill, which I agree with. However, if reading isn't fun, and if reading isn't, if they're not finding the joy in reading, then they're not going to want to read. And the thing with reading is once they find that thing, that reading, whatever it is, if it's reading nonfiction, if it's reading a certain chapter book series, whatever it is, find what your kids like and have them practice that. And as they continue to practice, they're going to be gaining skills and fluency, and that fluency is going to then encourage them to keep going. And so that is my encouragement to you, is to find something. If they don't like the stories and the readers and it's just tedious to get through, then don't do them, and find something that is he's able, or he or she are able to get through. So that's just my soapbox for that. So I'm going to step off of that and explain level 4. So level 4 is the last level of All About Reading. And in this level, they talk about all kinds of things, but it takes them, what I've heard about the program is that once they're done with level 4, they can essentially sound out any word that they come across in the English language, because they have been taught all of the aspects and rules of, and like weird things that English has, and how to break it down so that they can sound out those words. And I didn't learn phonics, and so I'm learning along with my son now as we're at level 4, end of level 3 and 4, and it's like, oh my gosh, now I know how this word is this way, and it sounds weird, and all of those things. So, because of that, I think it's really important. It talks about words that have Greek roots and Italian roots and different things like that. So I think it's definitely something that is worth continuing on. Now, with level 4, we have decided to do the same thing. If our son does really well with the lesson prior, so the actual learning the new phonogram, then he can skip the story. If, however, he was struggling with the concept or it didn't quite click as well, then I do make him read the story so that we practice the skill that he struggled in. And that is how we do it. And like I said, my son is like reading everything that he can get his hands on without even me asking him to. And so that has been really wonderful to watch and see my son get to that point. But I think that giving him some freedom to make some choices on his own has helped in that area as well. But like I said, the ones that, most of these things, now that he's reading on his own, he gets the concept, he already knows the rule, he's seen the rule as he's been reading. However, it's good for him to know what the rule is. And like today, when we were doing a lesson, he really wasn't understanding the concept. We were learning the GU sound and how U is silent, but he wasn't seeing it in the word. And so I'm going to make him read the story on Monday when we do our next lesson, so that he can get himself back just soaked in it, and so that we can practice that rule again and again just through the story, because the story has a lot of those rules in it. So that is how I do All About Reading level 4. I think it's worth it. I think it's something that definitely should be done. We do it every other day so that he can read what he wants to read and has that freedom, unless he has to read a story like he will on Monday. Instead of getting a free read on Monday, he will have to read the story that goes with the with the program. So that is how I do that. I hope this is helpful, and I hope that it answers any of your questions on if you should do level 4 or if you should just let your kids read. You can always just let your kids read for a little while and then go into level 4 if you think that they need some fluency practice. You can always do that. You don't have to move right into the next thing. But I definitely think level 4 is worthwhile, at least for the lessons, so that they understand and get the rules that they need to do. The other thing that I find interesting with All About Reading is that there is a aspect of like language arts in it. So they learn about onomatopoeia and personification, and they're learning some of those English grammar type things as we're doing the lessons. So it's just an added like carrot or cherry on top when you're doing your reading lesson to whatever language arts lesson you're doing. I don't think at this point, once they hit level 4, that should be their only language arts. However, I think it definitely has a good, it just kind of helps to bring those things out and show them how they work in a reading environment. So anyways, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I also have a link in my profile. I am an affiliate, so that is an affiliate link, but you don't feel like you have to purchase from there. I just love the program, and I think it's a wonderful one. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.